Welcome to the Derby Barn.
During triangulation, we are making sure that the rear axle is perpendicular to the center axis of the floorboard. All right, the first step of this process is going to be to remove the shell from the floorboard.
Next, you will release the tension on the brake pedal so that it will lay down out of the way so that a measuring tape can be extended between the front kingpin and the corners of the back axle. Now remove the top lock nut of the front kingpin. The next step in triangulation is to remove the rear airfoils from the rear axle. This is accomplished by removing the two screws that hold the airfoil onto the axle. Now place your measuring tape on the front side of the front kingpin. Measure to one corner of the back axle. Now repeat the process to the other side of the back axle. Be sure to measure at the same point of the axle on each side. If these two measurements are the same, your back axle is perpendicular to the center axis of the car, which runs between the front and rear kingpins. This means the rear wheels will be directed in line with the car. If measurements are not equal, then adjustments are needed. Loosen the stabilizer rods, make adjustments, and remeasure. When both measurements are equal, retighten the stabilizer rods. When completing the triangulation process for a superstock car, you follow the same procedures for the measurements. The only difference is if measurements are not equal, then adjustments must be made by loosening the stabilizer assembly as shown. When both measurements are equal, retighten the rear stabilizer assembly.
Now make sure that the front axle is parallel with the rear axle. So now we're going to do.
Begin the alignment process by removing the airfoils. Next, it's very important to be sure your steering wheel remains parallel with the front axle when completing the alignment. Check the steering wheel during the measurement process to be sure it doesn't move. Place the measuring tape at the back axle of the car. Begin measuring from the back axle to the front axle on one side of the car and record the measurement. Moving to the opposite side of the car, next measure from the back axle to the front axle and record that measurement. If the measurements are the same, then your car is aligned properly. Both axles are parallel. The steering wheel is parallel to the front axle, allowing all wheels to be pointed in the same direction. If measurements are not the same, then adjustments must be made. Adjustments can be made by tightening or loosening the steering cables at the cable adjuster eye bolt.